Hi guys! Have you all ever had anyone going on at you? Going on at someone means to criticize them and to keep talking to them and asking them to do something. Has it ever happened with you? Has it ever happened that your mom tells you that, come on, cut your beard, cut your hair? That's when she's going on at you. Okay, so this is what the lesson is about today. Today we are going to find out what are the different ways in which people speak. Sometimes people speak constantly without a stop. What is that called? Well, if you want to know, then keep watching with me. My name is Michelle and let's start. So here we are where we have a lot of phrasal verbs with us. All these are phrasal verbs which are a combination of verbs and a preposition together. Okay? So the first one that we have is to go on at someone. Okay. Now the one that I started the lesson with is a different one, and that is to go on at someone, which is very different from go on or going on. So going on is when someone keeps talking about a topic constantly, when they don't stop. So if someone is talking about a topic constantly, then they are going on at it. So to talk about a topic without stopping. Right. So people often go on about topics that they are very excited for. For example, somebody who just did their exams. She could say, I know. If someone has done their exams, they would tell you about how great they went. So obviously you could say that, I know you did well in your exams, but would you just stop going on about it? Which means, would you just stop talking about it endlessly? Another way of using going on is by saying, oh, he's going on about his job for so long, which means that he's talking about his job for so long, about his new job. Okay, so this is to go on for you. We can also use it in the form of went on, okay? Went on. So to went on means he went on about his job, which means he did not stop talking about it. Okay, now the next one we have is keep on. Keep on means to go on talking about something. It's almost like going on, okay? So now we have a lot of phrasal verbs with on which have similar meanings, which means to go on about something. So keep on is just another version of going on without any changes in the meaning. But yes, of course, the change is with the verb. Instead of go, we have keep. And we can use it in a sentence to say that, please don't keep on talking about your new job, which means stop talking about your new job. Okay, so keep on is same as goes on. All right, now the next one is bang on. Okay, bang on. Now this is again another way where someone goes on talking about the same topic, okay? But in a very boring way, yes. This is the difference between goes on, keep on and bang on. So when someone is bang on talking about something, it means that their conversation is very boring and you don't want to hear them, okay? For example, there are people who are gym freaks, okay? And they love exercising. So they would talk about it all the time. So maybe that person would be like, always talking about gym, always talking about exercises. So you could say she's always banging on about the benefits of exercising, okay? Which means she's talking about it and it gets you feeling bored. Talk in a bored way about something. Now we have another alternative to bang on, and that is to rabbit on. Okay, so I really don't know what rabbit on has in connection with rabbits, okay? I don't know. But yeah, rabbit on has the same meaning as bang on, which means to bore someone with your long conversations, long talks. So you could say that, hey, what is your sister rabbiting on about? Means, what is she constantly talking about for so long and boring us all? Okay, now with this we look at the next phrasal verb, and that is to drone on. So drone on is more of an American way of talking about a person who is going on talking. Okay? Someone who is going on talking. These four have a very similar meaning. And as an example for drone on, you could say, I had to listen to Michael droning on about the law. So this is drone on for you, a formal way of talking about speaking for too long, usually used in the US. So drone on, used in the US. Okay. Now the next one is where I started the lesson. Go on at someone. So going on at someone means to criticize someone and ask them to do something for you. Okay? Go on at someone means to criticize someone to do something for you. So like I said in the beginning of the lesson, she's going on at me about cutting my hair, okay? Or if you're gaining weight and your sister keeps pestering you to lose weight and to change your diet, you could say, I wish she'd stop going on at me about my diet, okay? Which means she would stop criticizing you for your diet and your weight gain, okay? Now the next one we have is to bring up, okay? Bring up it gives a very fresh feeling, doesn't it? Of course. So bring up means to start a new topic in a conversation. Bring up means to start a new topic. And when you're having a conversation with somebody and they start a new topic, you could say, it was you who brought up this topic. I never started. Okay, so here you're telling someone that I didn't start this topic, you started this new topic. Okay, now with this, we look at the next one. Pipes up. Okay, so when something comes out of the pipe, it comes out very suddenly. You don't even know. So if there is water splashing out of the pipe, you don't know when it comes. So the same way, when a person pipes up, it means that they suddenly enter the conversation when they have been silent for a long while. So pipes up is to suddenly enter a conversation. The other day, I was having a conversation with my friends and we were talking about our food habits, what we like to eat and everything. And while we were having that conversation, we started talking about pizza. So one of my friends, brought up the topic of pizza. And there's another friend of mine who got so excited that she was like, hey, I love pizza, even I want one of those. And we were like, Alfie, where did you pipe up from? As in, where did you come up from? So basically she entered the conversation very suddenly and it was very hard for us to realize like, okay, she's already joined the conversation. Okay, now the next one is to chip in. So to chip in has just the same meaning as pipes up. There's nothing different to it. It's just that it's used more often in UK and it means to add a comment to other people's conversation, okay? So in a sentence you could say she chipped in with a couple of useful suggestions, which means she added some useful suggestions to the conversation. So chip in is the same thing to suddenly talk in a conversation, but it's used more in the UK. The next one is to butt in. So your butt is not required there, which means that you're not wanted in a conversation, but you still have some comments to make. So that's when you're butting in a conversation. This is more like a slang and used informally, okay? So again, that means the same thing, to say a comment suddenly, but when it's not required or not wanted, when your comment is not welcome. So for an example, for butt in, you could say, she just butt in our conversation. We didn't even want to hear her. Okay, so butting in is to participate in a conversation when somebody doesn't want to talk to you. Another example would be he kept butting in with silly remarks, which means he was giving silly remarks throughout the conversation. Or sometimes if you are interrupting a conversation with somebody, you could say, hey, sorry to butt in, but did I hear you mention about my sister? Okay, so that's how you interrupt a conversation when you know that you're not welcomed. Okay, so butt in is to comment when not welcomed. Great. Now the next one is to reel off. Do you know what is a reel? A reel on a camera? the strip on which you have all the hard copies of the pictures which are later formed into the bigger pictures. That's what you call a reel. So it's so long, right? It's so long. The same way we have people who can reel off, which means that they can tell a whole list with their mouth. I mean, they remember it so well, they've memorized a list that they can tell it off. So if you reel off a list of things, you say a lot of things quickly and without stopping. Maybe you're thinking, I'm reeling off right now. Okay, an example for this is he can reel off the names of all the US presidents, which means that he can say the name of all the US presidents in a list. So reel off is to tell a list of some things. Okay, speak up. Why are you so quiet? Okay, so we use speak up when we want a person to talk loudly, okay? You could say, hey, could you please speak up? I can't hear you. You could say this over the phone. You could say this when you're face to face with someone and you think that they're speaking too softly. So speak up means to speak louder. To ask someone to speak louder. Right, and here we are, speak up. But speak up also has another meaning, which means to ask someone to give their opinion in public. So, for example, if you're in a classroom, the teacher might say, if any one of you disagrees, now is the time to speak up, which means now is the time to give your opinion if you disagree. You could also hear this in meetings. Alright guys, so here we are today at the end of the lesson where you have learned a couple of phrasal verbs that you can use to talk about speaking. So the next time you butt in, make sure that you say, I'm so sorry to butt in, but da da da, whatever you want to say after that. Okay, so I hope this was fun and you learned some new phrasal verbs. Come back for more lessons with me and I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, take care and bye-bye.